Hey, Hickok 45 here. Guess what? It's 1911 day at the compound. Oh man. Oh, it's always a good day when you have a 1911 in hand. Oh, especially if you pop a 2-liter with it. Oh, he tried to get away. Oh yes, 1911. This one happens to be a Tisas from Turkey. Yes, we're seeing more and more guns, pistols, rifles too, I guess, shotguns from Turkey in this country. This is one of them, Tisas, the major manufacturer over there, and we are glad to be able to try it out. I get a lot of requests to review, quote unquote, the less expensive firearms, and I know I'm bad about that. This is one of them. This thing retails for about $400. It's a 1911, and so I have shot it myself about 200 times. The guys down at the Jolton Gun Shop have shot it when it came in 150 times, and actually I've shot it a few more right there, right? And so we'll give you the report and give you a look at it and shoot it some more. Take a look at it though. It's an interesting. We may take it apart here, but it's a well-made firearm. It's the machining is pretty impressive on the thing. It really is. I mean, for a 400, I think like $399. That's almost unheard of when you think about an actual 1911, because it just takes a lot of work to put one of these things together. They're not like some of the polymer wonders we all shoot. And so it's hard to make one inexpensively. It just is. And so we got this from Bud's Gun Shop, by the way, a major online retailer. We appreciate that. Appreciate them sending it to us, and I'll put the information in the description. But just a very interesting firearm, as much as anything for the fact that it is so low priced. Now, $400 is nothing to sneeze at. I know that, if you're thinking that, if you don't know 1911s. But $400 for a 1911 is pretty impressive, okay? Let's shoot a couple more times here and see if it'll manipulate some 230 grain slugs. All right. Now, you notice it is the GI configuration. This is the, the basic firearm that our military used for so many years here in the United States. This is pretty much that configuration. They call this the Zig M 1911. It's their classic 1911 for that reason. You just have the vertical serrations back here and everything, and it's pretty much a duplicate of the firearms that our GIs carried, and that's one of the attractions of it. Okay, so the trigger, what I was getting at, the sights are not that great, and the trigger is not either. Obviously, if you're going to go play some, shoot some IPSC matches, USPSA, you'd want to upgrade the trigger and the sights, maybe even a beaver tail, some things like that. But this is the GI configuration, and in a lot of ways that is the attraction. It's just the classic configuration. So it's not easy to pick off flies with it. Well, I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to build some excuses for myself because the trigger is not a competition trigger. Well, let me just go on over there and miss the gong with it to prove what I'm talking about. But now I have shot it enough to see that it's accurate if I can just manipulate the trigger well enough. So I know it shoots a little bit below point of aim. So let me hold up on the gong and get a good, or at least the best trigger break I can get. All right, I think I heard that familiar ring. Try it again. Takes a lot of concentration. All right, it will put them in there. Let me try these plates. I think I need to hold the top of the plate here. Yeah. So I'm holding about the top of the plate, and it's hitting the plate, and that's just a little 8-inch plate. So, for whatever purposes, defensive purposes or whatever, the sight is not an issue, but it does shoot a little bit below point of aim. If you were going to go, again, compete with it, you'd want a little bit higher rear sight or a lower front sight. Probably a higher rear sight be the way to go on that. Okay, so Tisas. Interesting gun. They are in the northern part of Turkey. I actually looked it up. They're right there on the Black Sea, and there's several, dominant firearms companies in Turkey. The Gerson, Canik, there's others I can't pronounce that make a lot of firearms, and make the CZ clones, the 1911s, and just all sorts of firearms. We're seeing more and more of them, and again, it's $3.99. That's just amazing to me that somebody can even make one for $3.99. But let's load these magazines. We'll run it through its paces. Like I said, we have fired it a couple hundred times at least now, and the guys down at the shop where I take guns in, my FFL dealership at Jolton, they fired it 150 times. They had one little bobble on the last 50, and I've had a couple of bobbles in the 200 rounds. Okay. I guess I've come to expect that with any 1911, here and there. I think it might be my magazines. I'm not sure which one, but I've been shooting all my various magazines through it, and including the one that came with it, the Metgar. Comes with a Metgar magazine, one magazine. Again, $3.99. You're not going to get 5 magazines, are you? Wilson Combat magazines. So, pretty interesting firearm. Just depends on what you're looking for. For me, I don't know. I'm really kind of biased, I guess. I see it as someone who wants, maybe you got your carry gun, whatever that might be, and you just always wanted a 1911, and in the basic configuration, but you didn't want to spend $1,000 for it, like a lot of them cost, or $800 or $1,000 or more. For $400, you can, and there's others in this price range. There's not a lot of them. But this kind of firearm, it gives you what seems to be a well-made 1911, for that kind of money. So that's one of the attractions. The machining on this thing is pretty impressive, I'll have to say. Maybe I'll take it apart for you here, but if you can tell anything about it now, it's going to be all dirty, isn't it? But it really does seem to be well-made. And as usual, I like to check around and see what other people are seeing and saying about a firearm if I've not had a lot of experience with it. And I have looked through a lot of forums and Google, and you do the same yourself if you're trying to find yourself an inexpensive 1911. And I think you'll find, what I did, that generally speaking, good reports on this firearm. People are impressed with it, and they're not having problems with it. Occasionally, someone will talk about a hang-up or something, but they seem to be really happy and pleased with the quality of it, and of course the price. You always have to throw in that that clause, for or phrase for $400. It's hard to beat. All right. If it were $1,000, of course, it'd be a different proposition. But for the money, it really does seem like it's a pretty good gun. It's an option anyway. And again, I'm bad about not getting firearms like this. I know, but because everybody is not interested in a $1,000 pistol. Okay, so. But this kind of thing does put you in a 1911, at least. If that's what you want. And really, everybody ought to have a 1911. If you're a shooter. What do we want to shoot now? Okay, you've done pretty well so far, haven't you? I probably jinxed it when I said that. Let's try another 2-liter. Oh, and a pumpkin. Oh, dead center. I think I'll. Let's try, a cinder block. Boom, last round. Big old 230 grain slug. Oh no, where's my ammo? I left it all at the table. I'm not ready for combat. How untactical that was. Those magazines in my pouch. All right, so we got a mixture of magazines, but hopefully that's a Ruger magazine there. Ah, the pot fell off. He thinks he's getting away. I'll teach you. I should have used the sights, I'm sorry. Blame it on the cold weather. Watch my muzzle here. Ah, there's a loaded magazine. You know what, I don't think the Cowboys had enough attention. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a couple of shots at the red plate over there. Like I say, it shoots a little bit below point of sight, and with this trigger, if I hit that, you ought to send me an award of some sort. I don't know what it'd be. Maybe an all-expense paid trip to Hawaii or something. Plus, I can't even see the sights now in the low light. Okay, I'll send you my address, and you can send me that ticket, that airline ticket. No, actually I have. I've shot it enough to know that even though it shoots just a little bit below point of aim, it seems very, very accurate. A couple of things about it. Here, let's look at it again. Positives and negatives. Of course, the positive is the price. That's the big overriding positive, isn't it? Seems well made. Let's pop it apart real quick and see if I remember how to take a 1911 apart, even a dirty one. The sights, you'd want better sights if you could get them. Of course, a lot of people went into combat with those sights, didn't they? and the trigger is it's not ideal, but it's okay. You know, if you've had the experience that some of us have had with 1911s with just beautiful triggers, you know, that by contrast it seems worse than it actually is. Probably someone who hasn't shot a great deal might not think it's that bad. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but the machining is remarkable for you know, again, for this price range. It seems to be a well-made pistol. The frame to slide fit and everything, cold hammer forged stainless steel barrel. It you know, you would think it would just cost more. You would think that nobody would be able to make firearms in that price range of this quality, or at least the seeming quality, you know. So I don't know if that told you anything, but it just I'm impressed with what I have. And again, I've got a lot of 1911s and various configurations. So I have been around some of the low-end 1911s and the really high-end 1911s, have competed with them and everything. So I'm not going to lavish too much praise on it, but it's a well-made gun for the money, I'll have to say. I can't deny that. Let's see, what else? Okay, negative sights maybe, the trigger. Oh, I know one thing too, if you're going to replace the grips, you got to use these screws, unless you replace the bushings underneath. If you're familiar with a 1911, there's little bushings that screw into the frame, and then you screw these screws into that bushing. And I noticed that these screws, I tried some of my others, and they're a little bit different size, so you'd want to change out that bushing, or else make sure you have some extra screws like that. You could consider that a negative, I guess. And what am I doing here? I forget how to put a 1911. No, I didn't. It's a little cold. I think it's affecting my brain. Yeah, I know. How could you tell, right? If my brain's affected, how would anybody know? It's one advantage of being a little bit disturbed and not too bright. Nobody knows when you're having trouble. Okay, I passed the test. I got it back together. Now, also, I don't really get hammer bite with it. I have fired it again. That's whatever, 250 more times myself. But the beaver tail, there's something there that's a little rougher. I think it's the fit on the beaver tail. There's a little bit more of an edge there than with my Colts and those. I compared them a little bit, and I think it's that edge more than it is hammer bite. It's not sharp or anything, but I can feel it. You know, so I'm a little bit red there. If you're shooting a 1911 with a nice beaver tail, you don't get that. And the hammer's got a pretty large spur on it, but I don't think it's caught my skin, no, or I'd have a real serious bite there. I believe it's just, I can feel that edge. I think that's what it is, to tell you the truth. But, I mean, it doesn't hurt. I've not had any blood or anything, you know, the last few days. You know, shooting was pretty good. Well, we shot this arms core. Seems like it's doing okay. Maybe we'll stick with the arms core. I'll shoot a couple more times. We're gonna get dark on us here. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be shooting for you if you can't see me, right? I mean, I'm such a handsome dude. If I was out here shooting in the dark, you know, you'd be depressed if you couldn't see me. What else about the gun? You know, it just is what it is. It's a basic GI model, and it seems to work, and seems to be made well. You know, what can I say? I think there are other models that they make in this Tisas, enhanced versions, where if you want one, just like some of the other low-end 1911s from the Philippines, where you can get one that's enhanced maybe with a beaver tail, better sights, maybe better trigger, and for another whatever, 150 bucks or 200 bucks. I don't know what the prices are on those, but you can buy these in any configuration, just like you can the Rock Island, some of those others, I think. But for a basic $400 gun, this is a pretty impressive little gun. It really is. I don't know if I'm going to buy one, but it's just again, for the money, it's a neat little gun. All right, let's shoot just a couple more times before I freeze to death. What do we just absolutely need to shoot here that hasn't been shot? I see a pumpkin down there. Let's see if I can hit him. Yeah, I need to hold right on the stem. Well, I must have hit the propane tank. Let me get it in a position where I can get him there. I think I hit him somewhere. There you go. He's not going to blow up or anything. Those cinder blocks need another. All right, we got one more magazine. What should we do with it? What should we do? Well, one thing is this guy right here. And let's burn the rest of them. I'll tell you what, let's make sure it's fully loaded, and let's just see if it will shoot fast. Okay, it's hot now. I'm laying it down there. It's hot. Now, for you newbies, that doesn't mean it's warm, the metal, although that may be true too. It means there's a round in the chamber. Okay, so we've got one in the chamber. Let's put it back in the holster. And let's pretend we're going to combat here. All right, Tisas. What do we want to shoot? There's a propane tank still standing down there. I don't think we're too close to it. Let's just pop him. I almost forgot I was going to shoot as fast, or at least try to. So I don't know, whatever that's worth to you. Again, I have been remiss in bringing more of these things to you all, because you all put up with my fixation with lever guns, Colt single actions, and all the weird firearms that I down deep just truly enjoy, and appreciate that. And I think many of you even learn to like them. So I bring you a lot of things just because I like them. Probably need to bring you more things because you like them. Try to. But this is one of those low-end, low-priced 1911s that I know a lot of people are looking for. And probably most of the folks are not even trying to go compete in an IPSC match, USPSA or IDPA and that kind of thing. They just feel like there's a gap in their collection because they don't have a 1911, just like I would if I didn't have a lever gun or a single action of some kind in a Wild West firearm. And I think that's a lot of it. So they're out there, and this Tisas seems like a pretty good choice to me. It works, and right out of the box, it seems to be a pretty good gun. So what can I say? Anytime you're shooting a 1911, life is good.